He's Chase. I'm Harrison. Any given Thursday, rolling along with you. Let's talk about the Los Angeles Lakers, Chase, as the one step forward, two steps back train just continues. And speaking of trains, the Russell Westbrook train is just the gift that keeps on giving. Frank Vogel does not play Russell Westbrook down the stretch in a game on Wednesday night. And he even said, Chase, that he played the guys that he felt gave them the best chance to win. They lost to Indiana. Russ did not talk to reporters. What is next in the saga of Russell Westbrook?
So let's break it down quickly for you. Lakers were trailing to the Pacers. Russell Westbrook wasn't having a good game. He had a defensive lapse late in that game where an offensive player drove right by him. So Frank Vogel did what a head coach should do and benched him for the final 3:52 of that game. Russ then left the arena without talking to the media, and Vogel, of course, was asked about this in his post-game press conference and said, I played the guys I felt as though were going to give us the best chance to win. And I understand why Russ stormed out. We know that he's the ultra competitor, right? This guy is a cold-blooded assassin, and he'll go for the kill shot at any time, that being his strength, that being his biggest weakness as well. And because Russell Westbrook is so competitive, he doesn't want to be taken out of any game because he thinks and knows that oftentimes he can try at least his very best to help bring the team back. Now, you take a look at his numbers, Harrison, it's easy to see why, and if you watch the video, why he got benched.
By the way, he actually went 4 of 6 from 3, which means he was 1 for 11 from two-point range. I mean, that is just abysmal. He's minus 18 in the box score as well. It's just not good. Here's a mini quote from Vogel that we kind of just broke down, saying play the guys who thought that would win the game. Obviously, that did not happen. Here's what's going to bother me, and here's what I think could potentially happen here as the Russ drama continues. I think there's a good chance this ends in a firing of Frank Vogel.
Yes.
Which
he'll be the ultimate scapegoat in this situation.
And what bothers me is that LeBron and AD were the guys who pushed for this, to bring in Russell Westbrook. We all read the story. They brought him into their rooftop penthouse. They were drinking wine. Hey, Russ, what do you think? And it's just... They made a mistake. Like, it's okay to admit to a mistake. They should have never signed Russell Westbrook, Chase. Yeah. And it's been a bad move, and you can't move his contract, so what are they going to do? They're going to fire Vogel. That's just probably what's going to happen here. And, that's kind of the blessing and curse of LeBron, right? When you bring him into your team, his greatness, overwhelms. You're going to win a lot. You're probably going to win a title. You're probably also going to run a coach out of town. And that's probably the next move for the Lakers, unfortunately.
On the pecking order of who is to blame, where does Vogel rank among Rob Pelinka, LeBron James, and Frank Vogel? I'd put him last.
Yes,
right?
Agreed.
And, of course, he is to blame as well because he's supposed to be a defensive head coach, and they haven't been able to get it on that end of the floor done.
Yep.
But at the same time, he has been given a flawed roster that isn't constructed to play solid defense. So there was the report from the LA Times that Frank Vogel is safe. There was the report from The Athletic that he's coaching on a game-by-game basis. Stephen A. Smith, also plugged into a lot of NBA circles, said this morning on Get Up that change is coming. And it wouldn't surprise me if change is coming with Frank Vogel or with Russell Westbrook. He did not clarify which exact change is going to come. I think Vogel's going to be fired because he's the easiest person to scapegoat in this entire situation.
And again, I mentioned it earlier, I'll say it again, what do you do with this Russell Westbrook contract here? I mean, that's why I think the Vogel change is the easiest one to do, because that has no implications on your salary cap. Hey, you change the coach, that'll fix everything. I don't believe that's going to be the case. You and I, on draft night when they traded for Russell Westbrook a couple hours before the draft last year, we're like, this is entertaining, but we don't think it's going to work. And guess what? It hasn't worked. So I don't know how you move his $40+ million contract. Look, we've learned over time that any contract is movable, but you're not going to get anything in return for Russell Westbrook.
No.
All you're doing is freeing up cap space if you do pull it off, which is great. But if you're not getting pieces back, I mean, what value is it really? Let us know what your reaction is to Russ getting benched, by the way. My reaction is proper because he wasn't playing well, and Vogel tried to make the right move. But it's a mess, man. And, I just go back to, you had Buddy Hield ready to come to L.A.
Yeah.
Like, there was a trade there, and they didn't make that trade.
You didn't trade THT for Kyle Lowry. There's a series of mistakes, and Vogel isn't to blame for that.
No. And look, maybe he signed off on some of this stuff as well. But again, LeBron-driven teams, it's about the GM and LeBron. We know that. That's how this has been for years. LeBron runs the show. Pelinka's his boy, and they convinced him to go get Russ, and it's blown up in their face through 45 games or however long this season has been so far. On a positive note, this hoodie is 25% off if you want to take advantage of that.
It's a good segue right there.
Chatsports.com/LAL hoodie. Go check it out. It's a sweet hoodie. You got the big Lakers and gold letters right there. Go check it out. Chatsports.com/LAL hoodie. Link will be in the comments and the description of this video. Stay positive and stay warm with this hoodie. Okay, trade deadline chase is obviously they would love to trade Russ. There's been rumors, loose reports of who they could potentially target. These are guys that have been synonymous with all trade rumors across the league, but also specifically with the Lakers at times as well. Which of these 5 names really jump off the screen to you, A, as intriguing pieces, and B, as guys you think could actually be realistic for LA?
Yeah, I want to focus on a new trade target, and we've talked about Jerami Grant. We've discussed Trent Jr., Ben Simmons for Russell Westbrook. I don't think is anything that's going to happen, but it would have to happen to match salaries unless a third team was involved. Miles Turner, I think that he would be a wonderful addition to the Lakers in the front court. How about Harrison Barnes, though? Really like what Harrison Barnes has been able to do for a long time now. And look, a lot of people have slanderous takes on Harrison Barnes, but he's really a very solid player in nowadays NBA because he defends at a very high level. He can play, make, and create a little bit. He can shoot the 3, and he does everything really, really well. And his numbers on the Sacramento Kings this year and in prior years, and when he was with the Mavericks, when he's with the Warriors, he's always a very, very solid player. 16 points per game, 6 rebounds. He's shooting 45% with volume and almost 42% from 3. And you put him on the Lakers. I like the fit almost the most out of anybody else. I like the contract the most out of everybody else because he can defend, shoot the 3, and create for you and give that youthful energy to the squad that the roster currently does not have.
You know what the best thing was to happen to Harrison Barnes in his career? To get traded to Dallas. And I'll tell you why, and I can confirm this. The Mavs trade for him, they were not in a position to win, so he basically became their go-to guy.
Yeah.
And Rick Carlisle, 2 off seasons in a row, was in the gym with him every single day working on his game.
Yeah.
And, in Golden State, he's just this number 4 role player type. He's not handling the ball much. He's not that good of a ball handler. He comes to Dallas, he improves as a playmaker. His ball handling improves. He worked on his three-point shot as well, which was very hot and cold earlier in his career. About 3 years in a row now. He's been a 40+% three-point guy. And now you look at him and you're like, this is the ideal guy to add to your nucleus because he can catch and shoot, he can handle, he can dish, he can defend, which is something he's always been able to do. If you could find a way to get him to LA, I think he's an instant impact piece on this roster and in this rotation. I like Harrison Barnes quite a bit. He's a guy that just refused to stop improving, and he's become a really solid player over the last 3 or 4 years.
No doubt about it. And how about Miles Turner? Now, we've talked about him this week as well. This is a big man who I really think would also improve the Lakers as a team. Leading shot blocker the last 2 years. He's really grown his offensive arsenal where he can chuck it from deep, mix it up down low. Here's the problem, though. Currently out with a stress reaction injury in his foot. Now, that sounds worse than it actually is according to the doctors. They're saying that he's going to be back right around the NBA trade deadline. But for Los Angeles specifically, does that impact their interest in giving a key piece up for Miles Turner if they do have some concerns about that injury for Turner?
Yeah, obviously you would have to – any trade for Turner, or really Sabonis now too, who just got injured with Indiana – your medical team for your staff would have to sign off on that because if there's real question marks there, you don't want to bring a guy with a big salary on board if you're not sure about that. So that would have to be signed off on. But if it was, I think he would be an excellent fit. I think he could start or come off the bench depending on what you want to do with him and Anthony Davis if you think they can start together. So we'll see what happens on that front. I'll tell you this. If the Lakers make a trade or if there's any big news and rumors circulating, we're going to be breaking it down here on the Lakers Report.
You already know.
YouTube.com/LakersTV. Chase doing videos 3-4 days a week. I sprinkle in 1 or 2 from time to time as well. Check us out. Hit that subscribe button. We'll have more Lakers news and rumors coverage here on the Los Angeles Lakers Report. All right, let's talk about Ben Simmons now. Is that still a possibility for the purple and gold?
I just don't think it is because I don't think Philadelphia wants back Russell Westbrook. I think Russell Westbrook would make the Sixers an even worse team. And right now, they're kind of maximizing, kind of reaching their peak without Joel Embiid getting much help. Of course, Seth Curry has had a really good year. Tyrese Maxey is a very good guard in his second year, but is really up and down. Tobias Harris has been bad. He's been rumored to be in trade discussions alongside Ben Simmons. But Philadelphia would just be insane. And it would be asinine for Daryl Morey to trade away Russell Westbrook or get Russell Westbrook for Ben Simmons. That's why I just don't think it can happen unless a third team comes in.
Look, we know this. The Lakers are going to be aggressive over the next 3 weeks. They don't have a choice, and you can't punt on LeBron years at this point in his career. He's 37 years old, so see what happens, man. It's going to be very, very fascinating to play out, and like we said, we'll have you covered here on the Lakers Report. Shout them out. Name a player that you want the Lakers to trade for between now and February 10th. Let us know because the clock is ticking for Rob Pelinka.